Helping Hummies, Easy Steps to a Bird-Friendly Backyard. Hummingbirds are fascinating little creatures. Their dazzling colors and impressive acrobatics make them the stars of gardens and feeders. Hummingbirds live life in the fast lane, zipping around at 20 to 30 miles per hour, while their tiny wings beat as fast as 80 times per second. This fast pace comes at a high energy cost. Hummingbirds need to eat constantly to fuel their activity. They may visit 4,000 to 5,000 flowers per day to consume enough nectar. Their feeding behavior is beneficial to the birds and our gardens alike, as hummingbirds pollinate the flowers as they travel from plant to plant. Migrating hummingbirds especially need lots of energy-providing nectar to support their incredible journeys, which may span thousands of miles. Unfortunately, habitat loss and climate change are altering the landscape, reducing flower and nectar availability to hummingbirds in many places. The good news is that we can all pitch in to help support our resident and migratory hummingbird species. Our backyards, gardens, and even apartment balconies can provide hummingbirds with critical food and habitat. Check out these tips for creating a hummingbird oasis at your home. Before inviting hummingbirds into your yard, you'll want to assess your space for hazards. After all, we want our hummingbirds to be safe when they're enjoying our gardens. Tip number 1. Bird-proof your windows. Windows are a major hazard for birds. They see the sky, clouds, and trees reflected in the glass, and it appears to be an inviting place to fly. Unfortunately, most collisions with windows prove to be fatal. There are a few easy things you can do to prevent collisions. The main goal is to alert the birds to the presence of the window. Interior blinds can accomplish this. For large picture windows or windows without blinds, consider affixing the window with exterior screens, nets, or decals. The windows pictured here are affixed with Kaleidoscape bird tape. This is an easy way to prevent bird strikes without significantly diminishing your view of the outdoors. Tip number 2. Keep house cats indoors. Even though hummingbirds are fast, cats can become very good at catching them. Make sure to keep your hummingbird safe by keeping your pet cat indoors. Tip number 3. Eliminate pesticides in your yard, as they can make hummingbirds sick. Hummingbirds actually eat bugs and spiders for fat and protein, so allowing some bugs in your yard is beneficial to the birds. Now that your yard is safe, it's time to provide food and habitat for your hummingbirds. Tip number 4. Garden for hummingbirds. Plant nectar is the healthiest food for hummingbirds. You can supply them with a steady source of food by planting native flowers that bloom at various times of the year. Some native plants that hummingbirds here in Orange County, California love are sage, mimulus or monkey flower, California fuchsia, and manzanita. Tip number 5. Provide perches. Hummingbirds need places to perch and rest their weary wings. Plants and trees with bare branches provide the perfect place for the birds to sit and keep watch for threats and to guard their food. Tips 6 through 10 are about supplemental feeders, which can provide extra nectar to hummingbirds and are especially helpful at times of the year when flowers are less abundant or during droughts and heat waves. Remember, having a feeder is a big responsibility. They must be kept very clean, as bacteria and mold can make your hummingbirds sick. Follow these best practices for a clean and healthy hummingbird feeder. Tip number 6. Choose the right feeder. The most important consideration when choosing a hummingbird feeder is whether you can access all internal areas of it for cleaning. Choose a feeder that can be easily and completely disassembled so that you can scrub all areas with a brush to prevent mold buildup. Since hummingbird nectar needs to be replaced every couple of days, a small feeder that holds about a cup of nectar is plenty big. Tip number 7. Clean your feeder often. It's very important to keep your hummy feeders clean. Using hot water and a bottle brush, scrub your feeders thoroughly every few days to prevent mold. You can use little brushes or pipe cleaners to get into the small, harder to reach spaces. Mold builds up even faster in hot weather, so you'll likely need to clean your feeders more frequently during the summer months. Tip number 8. Making nectar. You can buy premixed nectar or easily make your own by dissolving a quarter cup of table sugar into a cup of hot water. Mix thoroughly and let the water cool to room temperature before putting it in the feeder. Tip number 9. Avoid red nectar. Never use nectar with food coloring in it. Hummingbirds do not need red nectar to attract them to feeders, and the food coloring may harm them. Tip number 10. Provide multiple feeders. Hummingbirds are territorial and don't often share feeders with others. Position multiple feeders around your space to allow more hummingbirds to eat. If you follow these tips, you'll be well on your way to creating a backyard haven for hummingbirds. Not only will the birds be happy and healthy, but you will get limitless enjoyment from watching them. For further information about how you can support your local hummies, check out the resources listed in the description.